That'll all be in post.
Right.
You know? That's technical jargon for you. Post.
Right.
All right, let's kick it off. Hi, welcome back to Braving the Brightside with Dan Bradley. I'm your host, Dan Bradley. I appreciate you coming back around for episode 2. It means the world to me. So let's get into it, shall we? Listen, life's hard. Now what? That's not just a clever tagline. It's a survival question, a challenge. And for a lot of us, it's the space we find ourselves in more often than we care to admit. Today's guest, Mike Alston, lives in that space. See, I've known Mike for over 10 years now, and in that time, I've seen him walk through some of the toughest terrain life can throw at you. And he never pretended to have it all figured out, which I really appreciated. In this episode, we talk about what it means to find your footing when the ground beneath you keeps shifting. Growing up in and around the streets of Philly, Mike faced the kind of chaos, pressure, and identity-warping noise that tries to convince you to be someone you're not. Or worse, to stop trying altogether. But that's not Mike. He's honest, reflective, sharp as hell. And through the struggle, he's carved out a voice and a worldview that doesn't flinch at reality, that leans into growth. This conversation, much like this podcast, isn't about silver linings or toxic positivity. It's about resilience. It's about figuring out who you are when the world won't stop testing you. It's about asking, now what? And answering that with movement, honesty, and a refusal to quit. I'm excited for you to hear what he has to say. Let's get into it. Today's guest isn't here to tell us a clean-cut recovery story. He's here to ask the big question. If life is hard, and it is, what now? What do we do about it? How do we stop waiting for someone to fix it and start showing up for ourselves? Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Alston. Mike, how are you, man? How's it going?
Good. How you doing, Dan?
Doing great, man. It's good to have you on the show. How you been?
Been good. Just, living life, taking it one day at a time.
Yeah.
Trying to inspire people and, just grinding.
Grinding.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I do know that very well. Mike and I go way back. I don't know what, like 10 years?
Yeah.
Has it been that long?
At least 10 years.
Oh, shit, dude, we're old. Yeah, we worked at Iron Hill together.
Yeah.
I worked in the kitchen. You were a server, and then you were a manager.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where our bond was formed.
Yeah.
In the trenches of cheesesteak egg rolls.
Yeah. And shrimps and porridge.
Yeah. And angry customers complaining about the amount of shrimp they got in an entree.
Yes.
I'm glad to see you got out, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks.
No, I mean, listen, I hit you up for this because I came across what you've been doing. Why don't you tell me about that? Built Different, motivational speaker, life coach, mentor.
Yeah.
Talk about a little bit about that.
So just in my life's journey, as I got older, I just found myself just constantly motivating people, trying to inspire people just to be better, to do better, to want more. And, when obstacles kind of get in their way, instead of like crashing out, how can you, leap this hurdle and get over it, and kind of reap the benefits of powering through something, There's an old saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
And that's real. Life is hard, life is tough, but you can't, just succumb to the pressure. You can't buckle and fold under the pressure. You got to fight through it and power through it. And these things do make you stronger, so that you can get to the next level,
Oh yeah. I love that. I mean, that's essentially what the basis of this podcast is based on. I realize, it's just about, when people get the shit kicked out of them, whether it's grief, addiction, any other kind of obstacle in life, when it gets them down and beats them up, what that feels like, what that looks like, and the ability to pick yourself up and keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, I mean, yeah, life is hard.
Yeah.
Life gets hard.
Yeah.
For you, where were you coming from in terms of how you feel like you can help people? Is there...
Yeah, so my background, like I grew up in Philly, lived in Philly all my life, and I grew up during the 80s, 90s era where, it's just like after civil rights movement and everything, and just going into the ghettos of like drugs, like everything is like drugs and violence and everything like that. So I came from just growing up through that, living that experience, going through it, and, for lack of a better term, making it out. Because I'm still here and wanting more for myself and kind of taking my life in a different direction, but also utilizing what I did learn and what I did observe to succeed in life. And that's how I try to inspire people and help people by trying to giving them tools to get through their own individual obstacles in their lives.
That's amazing. Yeah. How long were you, like in terms of when do you feel like you got out of it? When did you feel like you got on the other side?
I want to say probably maybe about 10 years ago, around the time I met you, like just a little bit before. I think that's when, maybe a little bit before that, I just found myself like I gotta change something.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was getting a steady job and working, and then wanting more in that job. You know what I'm saying? Just giving my all, which is what I do with every area of my life I try to do. And it was, starting from the bottom literally, and then just trying to work my way up and try to succeed in this particular world.
Yeah, you did. You did. You worked yourself up to management.
Yeah. I got into management. And then as I was doing that, it was trying to motivate people and inspire people to do the same thing. And my thing was like, if I can do it, you definitely can do it.
Yeah.
So it was like trying to show people like, listen, if I can do this shit, like you definitely can do it. Like, let's try to, I'm trying to lead by example and try to, like I said, motivate people.
That's the best motivation. I mean, I've said it ad nauseum too, to the point where people are probably sick of it, but I literally can't stress enough in terms of getting your life and your shit together. Like, if I can do it, believe me, you can definitely do it. You know what I mean? I was an absolute mess for the longest time. And there was like, you would have told me 6 years ago that I'd be wearing a Hawaiian, stocking a shelf, and I can bench press weight now. I'm like, what are you on meth? Get away from me. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way. But yeah, I mean, all it takes, man, is either a significant moment or just something inside you. It's gotta be hungry for it and push for it.
Yeah. And that's what it is. It's something, inside of you that doesn't want to settle. And it's also like motivational, and it's like, it's that drive.
Yeah.
Like I gotta, set goals for myself and then try to achieve those goals. As corny as it may sound, but that's literally what it is.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's what life is.
Yeah.
For sure. You just recently quit smoking cigarettes, right?
I just recently quit, yeah.
Congratulations.
About a year and a half now.
Year and a half.
Smoke free.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You don't vape or anything, right?
No vape.
No, of course not, because you're an adult.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't smoke real wild.
Sorry. If you vape and you listen to this podcast, please still listen to the podcast. I'm not judging you. Which is probably a lot of the audience right now.
Yeah. As their chief in cloud. Right?
Yeah, exactly. No, that's awesome. Quitting smoking.
Yeah.
That's a huge one.
Yeah, that was huge. As a smoker, that was real.
Dude, I quit smoking and drinking, and I swear, I think quitting smoking cigarettes was harder than drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I had to literally chew on straws for like a month to just kind of try to get over that hump.
Yeah. My thing was sunflower seeds.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just the cracking of sunflower seeds, spit them out.
So were you just like walking around like a head coach of a baseball team?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
While you're managing a restaurant?
Those out, yeah.
That's an amazing table.
I'm on the floor talking to people.
Yes. And you want some comp?
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. Man, whatever it takes, dude. That's great. One of the things I like about your story is you really did. I mean, especially, I was lucky enough to work with you when you first started at Iron Hill, and I'd watched you work yourself up, and I've seen other people kind of fall to the wayside. I've also seen people become angry and disconnected, and not that it's not always the case, but I see them blame other people for their luck or their misgivings or this or that or that. Do you find, while you're doing this coaching and whatnot, do you find that people tend to come up with excuses or blame other people for their circumstances or their lack of
Yeah, definitely.
Success.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it is a thing. For both, I see people blame blame others, not take accountability.
Yeah, that's a big
one of the things for me, and one of the things that I tell people, like I embrace it and I take it as a challenge.
Yeah.
So it's, like if I'm not getting something that I want, it's like, okay, challenge accepted, because I'm definitely going to get this shit.
Yes. Yeah.
And it drives me to work harder.
That's awesome. What does taking ownership look like for you in like a real everyday sense? You know what I mean? Like, do you wake up early every day, or you you quit a bad habit, you quit smoking.
Yeah.
I know you quit drinking for a minute too to kind of get your head straight and stuff like that. What do you think in terms of taking ownership? What does that look like for you?
Yeah. Just taking it one day at a time. Like I said, setting a goal for yourself and seeing the end game to it. Why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? Will it benefit me at the end of the journey? And then just going on that ride and doing it. A couple of days into it, it kind of becomes the new norm. You know what I'm saying? Like you transitioning from one thing to another. And as you try to separate from that, it does get a little bit easier. And then as time goes on, like I said, it becomes a norm, and then it's just second nature.
Yeah. And
you kind of really don't even think about it for real. It's you live in, day after day of just going about your business and doing regular shit. And then you turn around, and like for me now, it's a year and a half, and I'm good.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's crazy. I hate when people say it. I always say, like, I'm walking down the street just telling random people these factoids. But I like the idea of like, well, starting a habit. People are like, you got to start. That's the hardest part. But I think the hardest part of a new habit, or even breaking a bad habit, is not the starting. It's after that first week, or even after that first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like once it becomes mundane, or you're just, it's not as exciting as that you're trying something new, or trying to break this habit. Like, I find that starting isn't always the hardest part. It's keeping it going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And finding that motivation to keep going.
Yeah. You kind of, it's like a don't look back mentality.
Yeah.
Like once you start walking down that path, you only just keep going forward.
And don't look too far forward either.
Exactly.
Because that'll freak you out as well.
Yeah. You gotta pace it, pace yourself, it's like a marathon, not a sprint type of thing. And you gotta go on a journey. You gotta embrace the journey. You gotta, feel every step as you're going along, and then appreciate it while you're in the moment and going through there.
Yeah, that's a big one too.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing wrong with taking a quick look back and be like, damn, I really have come this far. Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
But, don't look too long. You gotta keep it going. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's nothing wrong with celebrating yourself and your victories, for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How do you personally get unstuck when things feel overwhelming? What gets you moving again? Or do you get overwhelmed pretty often in this life?
There have been times where I have felt that. I mean, we kind of all get it. I don't get overwhelmed as often or regularly as a lot of people do, because like you just got to understand that it is what it is. You know, it's like shit happens. Well, what are you going to do about it?
Right.
And that's, once you understand how things work, you're not like shocked as much or let down as much, when shit happens. You just gotta, don't quit. Yeah. Like I said, don't buckle and fold under the pressure. You just gotta keep it moving and whatever it is that you're aspiring to do or trying to do.
Yeah.
You gotta like just see it all the way through.
I like that.
You can't let it stop you.
Yeah. Hell yeah. But one of the things that I know I personally struggle with before is accountability, and then also self-compassion, and finding like that balance, you know what I mean? Where I'm like, I take accountability for my own actions, but I'm also just not beating the hell out of myself in the corner of a room, and just not letting myself take a step in any direction because I don't think I deserve it. Yeah. And I feel like that's a really, really tough line to walk for some people, especially if some people who have been through some serious shit.
Yeah.
A lot of people struggle with self-blame when they're trying to make a change. Like, how do you balance yourself, and it's between holding yourself accountable and then not beating yourself up? You know what I mean? If you look back at your past, how do you walk that line?
You have to understand that, you got to check the man. Sometimes you got to check yourself.
Yeah.
Look at the man in the mirror. You don't want to beat yourself up, but you do kind of want to be hard on yourself, because, you want to get better, you know? And a lot of times, like, you do have to work hard and kind of suffer through a lot of pain. So it's, you know, you have to drive yourself, so you don't want to kill yourself at the same time, but you also want to motivate yourself, you want to push yourself, you want to
keep your foot on the pedal.
Yeah, exactly. So you just got to check yourself, but understand, like, you're doing it for the better. You're not doing it to, you know, like, to put yourself down or you know, just dwelling in self-pity or anything like that. It's like you internally motivating yourself.
Yeah.
Looking in the mirror, looking yourself in the eye and saying, like, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it.
Right.
You run into something, you learn from that lesson, and you pick yourself up and you try again.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it is a fine line, but, you know, it's also giving yourself a fighting chance.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I'll ask you this because I've been asked this, and it's a really hard question to answer. So maybe, you know, you'll be better at it. What's the difference between being hard on yourself and then also just being honest with yourself?
Yeah. So,
you know, like, what does that look like or feel like?
So being honest with yourself, you have to recognize, like, your faults. You got to recognize your flaws and understand who exactly you are as a person, right? So if you understand who you are and you recognize it, and then you take those things like, oh, okay, I want to get better in this area, I want to change this area. You just got to identify those things, and then that's when it comes to, you got to push yourself, like, to get to that goal.
Yeah.
But being honest with yourself first and foremost, just recognizing who you are, where your flaws are, what is it that you want to work on.
Yeah.
And then being that coach for yourself to get to that point and do better.
Yeah. I think that I know for myself, that was really tough, being honest with myself. But I also feel like if you're honest with yourself, there's nothing wrong with being hard on yourself for a minute.
Yeah, yeah.
In that honesty. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like when I went through all my shit, when I fell off the side I dropped the world's biggest elbow on the earth and shattered my body.
Yeah.
You know, I was very hard on myself. I was spiraling mentally in a hospital, while also coming to terms and being honest with myself about where my life was going to head if I didn't make some serious changes.
Yeah.
So I do think, like, there is a fine line. But there's also nothing wrong with being hard on yourself that gives way to being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just be hard on yourself all the time.
Right.
That sounds miserable.
Right.
Plus, no one's going to want to hang out with you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, Dan, shut up.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I'm sure you found yourself, like, at a point where it was like, bro, what the fuck? What am I doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And I understand that. Like, I kind of know what that goes through, or what you going through when you feel that. And it's, you know, you in it for a little bit and you feeling it, and you got to start thinking.
Yeah.
Like, what's next? What's next? What do I do now?
And I think it's really interesting. And I think it's a great point you just said. You have to feel it when you're in it.
Yeah.
And that's one of my things when I was going through everything, was having to feel everything, like shame, guilt, anger, and like those are things that I usually just doused alcohol on, so I didn't feel anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, sounds great. Double IPA, Jameson.
Right.
I'm starting to feel things. We need this to stop as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm in a hospital bed with a banged up body. I'm going through it, and I like that you said that. You have to feel it when you're in it, and when you're on rock bottom, whether you like it or not, feeling all of those different feelings is going to help you build yourself back up.
Exactly.
But you have to give yourself that chance to build back up.
Yeah, you have to.
Know?
Yeah.
When things feel like they'll never change, how do you find even the tiniest bit of hope to keep going?
I look to other people for motivation.
Okay.
There's times where you will try hard and you will try to do something, and it's still, like, not working. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm trying. Why is it not working? Or I'm doing good. Why is good not happening? You know, it's, you know, life, it's not a fairy tale. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, shit happens. So you can't give up on that. You literally just have to keep trying. And it's hard. You know what I'm saying? You have to, each time something like that happens, you know, and you feel like there's a setback, you still have to try to muster up something to push forward. You got to find that strength from somewhere, you know what I'm saying, to, like, motivate you. So
where do you usually find your motivation when things become pretty tough like that?
I look to, I gotta say, like, peers that I look up to and respect for whatever reason. For me, it's people who set to do things and accomplish it when the deck is like stacked against them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who have, like, you know, shit wasn't easy for them, and they still walk around with a smile on their face every day.
Right.
You know,
like Carrot Top.
Exactly. Like Carrot Top. You.
Sorry, that was a terrible. That was a terrible.
No. Why I know Carrot Top is, so I get it. You know
really, I'm glad you got that reference. That would have felt terrible.
Yeah, no, I get the reference.
Well, like that's the thing that, like, do you talk to your peers about any kind of rough times, or you just kind of look at them and be like, all right, you know, this guy is able to do this, or she's able to put this together with what little she had. I can do this. I can, you know. Yeah,
it's I don't talk to them. I kind of think that when things like that happen, and you find yourself looking for something, there's something that's placed right in front of you. You know, you like I may not be thinking about somebody, but somebody will just walk across me, and it's like, you know what, that guy, he's been through some shit that I know for a fact, and look at him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If he can do it, I can do it. So, right. And so then instead of looking inside myself, I'll look to others, and then that'll inspire me. You know what I'm saying?
That's great too, because it's a great thing for people to remember. Because again, like one of the things too, when I was thinking about coming up with this podcast is telling people, like, it's okay, you know, it's a cliche, but it's okay not to be okay. And it's like, a lot of times people will see other people, like you just said, you'll see somebody who's gone through some shit, walk by smiling, and it's great. You're like, you know what, this guy's got it. I can do that. You're inspired by that. Some people will look at this guy and be like, are you kidding me? Like, this guy doesn't deserve that. Like, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, you know, then that's great that you look at it the way you do. Like, that's fantastic. Like, the world needs to be a little bit more understanding and softer that way.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah, literally understanding.
Yeah, goes a long way, man.
Yeah,
especially for, you know, inspiring people. What advice would you give to somebody who's, you know, who feels like they're just kind of stuck in the why bother loop? You know, why bother getting out of bed, or why bother even going on this job interview because I'm not going to get it, or, you know, someone who's at that point where life has just been pounding them down and just to a pebble, and they just kind of figured, like, what's the point? I go any direction I move in, I hit a wall. What is the point?
Yeah.
What kind of, what would you say to that person?
What I would say to them is, you have to, one, you got to love yourself. You know what I'm saying? And if there's anything that you love and people around you who you love, kind of do it for yourself, kind of do it for them. Typically when there are people who out there who love you, they kind of want what's best for you and everything. So even if you don't feel it for yourself at that time, try to, you know, draw some of that energy for them and kind of have them inspire you and do it for them. You know, do it for your brother or your sister, or do it for your mom and your dad, or do it for your kids. You know what I'm saying? Do it for your spouse, whoever. It's just, you know, like as people, you know, you just got to understand that you things are going to happen. You know, you want more out of life. You kind of got to work through to get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And stuff is gonna happen. You know, you're gonna get some bumps and you're gonna get some hickeys along the way. But these things should help you to be stronger and to help you be better for other people around you, like family members and things like that.
Who's your is there anybody specific you usually think of when you're frustrated, when you're hitting that wall?
Now it's my kids. Yeah, definitely it's my kids and my family. You know, when I was younger, it was me doing it for like my future self.
Yeah.
You know, and then now I got older and I have a family. It's definitely for my family. It's like I gotta, you know, do it for them.
Yeah.
And so that's not an option, you know, like giving up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not even like
that's the ultimate motivation right there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I have to do it for them. And to show them like that they can do it too, and like to provide for them.
Oh, sure.
You know, give them that love.
I think when I first met you, your son was what, 5, 6 years old?
Yeah.
Pretty young, right?
How old was he? He was under 10.
Yeah, he's definitely
under 10.
Under 10 years old.
Yes. Yeah.
So I imagine the way you're able to kind of pull yourself out of, you know, where you're at and work your way up to become management and parlay that management job from Iron Hill into other jobs.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that's probably
landed
on him. You know what I mean? It's not lost on him at all.
Yeah, no, and he was one of those that like he used to see it and like you know, from a kid, it's like, damn, why you working so hard? You know, you like spend more time with me. It's like, listen, I got to do it for you.
Yeah.
This is why, you know, like, and this is the sacrifice, you know, and that's a big part of it. A lot of times you got to sacrifice yourself, you know, for others.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And you gotta be a rock for people sometimes, but you also have to make sure that you're stable, and you have to have that stability for yourself too, first and foremost.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Before you can do it for anybody else.
That's amazing. Absolutely. That's great. I love that. Yeah, you need to make sure you're good too.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just be taking on everybody else's and be a rock for everybody else without, making sure you take care of yourself mentally.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a big one. That's something that I learned the hard way as well.
Yeah.
For sure. That's great. Let's talk about getting better versus being perfect, because I feel like a lot of times people, they take that stride and they're like, all right, I'm going to make a change for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Good example. I'm going to go to the gym, and I'm going to start going to the gym. And what they'll do is they'll go to the gym every single day for 2 weeks and making sure they're going 2 hours a day, and they'll burn themselves out because they're just going too hard right off the bat. And they're trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
Hit the perfect macros, hit the perfect weightlifting, hit this, instead of just putting themselves out there and growing and learning as it is. So in terms of what that looks like, getting better versus being perfect, what advice do you have in terms of somebody who's like, all right, I'm ready to make a change, and they want to just dive headfirst and do it wholly?
Yeah.
What advice do you give them in terms of like, here's how to take some baby steps in your right direction?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's literally like what you just said. So taking baby steps, again, coming up with like a plan, a goal, and then setting a goal, have that in place, and then
a realistic goal too.
A realistic goal, right? Yeah, definitely. And then having points in between to like kind of measure out your accomplishments.
But no, you're exactly right. Like being realistic with these goals too is a big thing too. Like, we keep going to the gym thing, but it's something that I'm very passionate about as well. But so I keep going to that. But
no, but you can use that as like a metaphor. It can apply to anything. But what you want to do is you want to set those realistic goals for yourself, and then understand that it takes time. You know what I'm saying? You have to put the time in. You have to put the work in, and you have to be consistent with it. So if you are doing it consistently, you're putting the time in, and you are putting the right amount of work in, you'll definitely see results.
Correct.
And that can apply to anything.
And like baby steps, like go to the gym I'm going to go to the gym for 10 minutes a day. For 3 days, I'm going to go for 10 minutes, lift some stuff, walk on a treadmill or whatever. Yeah. And that's it. And then next week, I'm going to go for a half hour. Exactly. Slowly have patience with yourself. Give yourself grace and build up to where you want to be. Don't overwhelm yourself trying to be perfect right off the bat.
Exactly.
That is a big one for sure. And I think it kind of leads into what I was going to talk about next, was like growth not being linear, I love, it's a saying that I enjoy, is movement, which means like, if you're actively trying to do something, that's great. That's like half the battle, right? And the big thing is, and I struggle with this myself sometimes, is, comparison is a thief of joy, right? And I compare myself to other people that I see. I'm like, oh man, why am I not that big right now? You know what I mean? Or why am I wish I had more stuff written like this person, or that person's Patreon's doing better than mine. Like it's, everyone's journey is not linear. And I think it's important that, people focus on that, right? Like growth isn't linear. It's not the same for you that it is for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's really important.
A lot of people don't start, at the same time, start at the same line. So you kind of have to take your own journey and take your own start and do it from there. So, and trust me, because there's going to be somebody that comes behind you and use the same example. It's like, man, this guy's doing awesome right now. It's like, you got to know the path that he took to get there.
You're just seeing one shape right now. You have no idea what is behind that human being and
exactly.
like what it took to get there.
And what it took to get there, exactly. But we all go through it, is the moral of the story. And we all, at one point in time, he's like, shit, I got to do something now, like that person, it may have been 10 years ago for that person, and you're seeing them now, today is day one for you, what I'm saying? So, and that can be like the inspiration, that you need. Like I'm starting day one, and I'm looking at a guy that's been coming here for 5 years. And I'm like, shit, I want to get to that point.
Right.
5 years from now, I'm sure you'll be at that point, if not better, you know what I'm saying?
Or further along.
Further along, exactly. But that's where you have to kind of draw and build your inspiration from sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And that's, that can be motivation, without hating and everything like that. It can just be like, you know what, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to get to that point. I'm going to put forth the effort to do it. You know what I'm saying? And 5 years from now, you'll go on your own journey, in your own path, and you'll see those results. And then somebody will come behind you and say, shit, I want to be like you someday.
Right. Look
you
at
know
that.
what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's the circle of life. You know?
Yeah. And that's when you turn and be like, look, if I can do it,
Yeah. you can do
you can definitely do it.
Exactly.
I used to fall asleep on my steps in front of my apartment. Now I'm counting how many calories I have.
Right.
Life is weird.
Right.
But no, that's great for sure. You know, and finding purpose through hardship is, you know, I think it goes hand in hand with what you're saying, right? Like through your hardship kind of builds, I think it's easy to look at your own hardship and not necessarily shame, but, you know, it's a complicated relationship when you look at that. And I think it's important to, when you find growth through your own struggles and your own shortcomings that you have to try to overcome, and you have to fight your own demons that you battle inside. I think that just builds to your own character and helps build you up in your journey.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, can you speak to that in terms of, you know, the hardship you've come from? And
yeah, you find yourself, like I said, you find yourself going through something, and you know you kind of sitting in it, and you dwelling in the self-pity, and you start to ask, like, why me? Why is this happening to me? Like, how come? Why is it like this? You know, and then again, like as you're going on this journey, it's like, you know, you don't want this for yourself. You know something has to change. You don't want to go through it again. How can I get better, or how can I get out this slump, or, you know, what can I do to kind of get away from this negativity? How can I not, you know, feel that pain anymore? You know what I'm saying? And then you have to find like the outlets to kind of like express yourself to do that. And it's never not going to happen again. It's going to happen again.
yeah, for sure.
The thing is that, you know, it'll be a lot subtle the next time, because you kind of prepare for it, you know? Like each punch is not going to feel the same. It's going to, after a while, you're going to be able to take a punch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to get punched in the face, but it's going to happen, you know? And after a while, you kind of, you feel it, but you won't get knocked down the second time.
Right.
First time, you might have been knocked down. Second time, it's like, all right, now I got to bounce back, you know? The third time, you might duck it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's getting from
first one might feel like Tyson. Third one might feel like me. Yeah, that's how much I can get used to it.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, I can take a punch, and that's the whole. You like, I'm stronger now. You know, it didn't kill me.
Yeah,
I'm stronger, and now how do I get to the next step? How do I get to the next level?
Right. And I think it's so important for people to know too that, like, in your past, when you made that decision in whatever kind of, you know, rough spot you were in, or whatever kind of trauma you were dealing with, whatever you were going through, the decision that you made was the best decision that you had with all the information you had in your life at that moment. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like at your life, at that moment, you made the best decision that you humanly could with everything that you knew.
Yeah. And
I think you got to give yourself a lot of grace for that, especially you're still standing. You know?
Yeah. And that's I definitely, you know, I appreciate that. And then that's kind of what it's about. You know, when you growing up and you are looking at things, you know, you could look at it as like black and white, you know, there's no gray area. Mm-hmm. So like you learning these lessons and everything, and you don't want to fall for the same shit that you just saw everybody else fall for. So it's like, how can I not go down that same road? Like, I've seen these people make these mistakes. I'm not going to do the same thing. Right. You know? So you got to do something different. You know, you watch what they do. You got to do something different, and then see where that takes you. And then even going down that path, like I said, you'll run into something that you never saw before. So it's like, how do you prepare for that? You know? So you go through it, and then you just knowing that now you'll be ready for it the next time, you know, like if it happens again, because you kind of self-aware now. But it's the motivation that you have to keep going and to not just quit. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And just want more for yourself.
Hell yeah, for sure. What's one thing you're trying to do better at today than you were about, I don't know, like a year ago?
Be healthier.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
nice.
Being healthier in my life. You know, drinking, smoking, partying, and just, you know, passing out into oblivion.
I tried to party with you and your brother. I couldn't keep up.
Listen,
my God,
we get pretty. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But you know, that was a period of time that we were doing that. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And now today, it's about getting healthier, and as clear-minded as I may have thought I was then. You know, I feel like I'm a lot sharper now. And you want to get even more clarity. So it's getting healthier, like literally mind, body, soul, clean some stuff up.
Yeah.
Because as you get older, you want to like remain sharp. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to kind of do it when you're younger, taking on a lot of things, you know, it barely fades. You know, you can do all of that stuff and then go to sleep for 2 hours and wake up and do it all over again, like no problem. You know, as you get older again, you have people looking up to you. People are respecting you and everything. So you have to like set the right examples and kind of lead by example. And a way to do that is by remaining sharp and staying healthy so that you can do it for longer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
You want to kind of stick around and be there and show people like, hey, you can go through this and get here. You can live this life and live it for a long time.
Yeah.
By just trying to better yourself, regardless of what it is.
That's great. If you could go back and talk to your past self in a moment when you were feeling stuck or, I don't know, like overwhelmed, what would you say? And what time period do you think, is there a certain time that jumps out to you when you think about that?
Yeah, probably like my early teenage years. Yeah, I was kind of going through it a little bit around that time. I was like trying to figure it out. And this was also like the coming of age era, like for me anyway.
Yeah.
Like I'm seeing the world turn and I'm feeling different because I'm feeling like I'm becoming into, or I'm coming into manhood. But I was a boy, like seriously, you know, then at the time you feel like, yeah, I'm starting to turn into a man. I'm growing into a man. But looking back at it, you know, 13, 14 is, you know, you're a child.
You're still a child.
Yeah, definitely. So it was going through what I was going through at that point, feeling like nobody was there, nobody cared. So why should I? And I literally, that was my mentality. It's like, if nobody else cares, why should I care?
Yeah.
So I did that for a little bit, but then a couple of years later, I would turn it around and say, you know, it was meant for me to kind of go through that, to kind of lead me down the path or take me where I was supposed to go, to kind of reflect on what I wanted to do. But what I would tell myself is to don't give up, and just to keep fight, which I didn't, but it was more like to keep fighting. You know, you're going through this for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And it's to make you stronger, it's to make you sharper, and it's ultimately to make you better, like all the way around. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that. That's great. That's better than my answer. You know, I'm like, the Phillies are going to win the World Series. Just hang in there, dude. Yeah, and like 10-year-old me be like, I mean, that's cool, but like, is that it? I'm like, that's all you need. I'd be like, 2008, do not leave Game 5 early, Dan. And then 10-year-old me be like, cool, can I go back to my action figures? All right,
exactly.
That's great, man. That's awesome. Listen, I mean, it seems like you're doing some good work here. Let's talk about your business that you're building up here. Like I said, you're a motivational speaker, your life coach and mentor. Instagram handle, built different _ Mike Alston, Alston.
Yeah.
Why don't you speak a little bit about, you know, what you're doing with that as well?
Yeah, sure. So it's literally self-explanatory, just being built different, you know, how you can show people being built different. Like, how do you handle things? It's all about how you handle
I love the
things.
name, built different.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people handle things differently. For me, I always handle things, you know, like kind of my way, you know what I'm saying? And one of the things that, like I said, I never gave up. You know, I kind of go through shit, and it's, how can I get out of it? How can I, you know, overcome this obstacle? You know what I'm saying? And what's going to happen on the other side? So then it got to a point where, as I'm going through something, I kind of like embrace it. It's like, oh, I will not be defeated. You know, my mentality is, it's either you or me. It's definitely not going to be me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then as I got older, just talking to people, I saw like people were like inspired by that, and it motivated people, like from a bunch of different walks of life. And then that's when they kind of, you know, and I wasn't doing it on purpose. It was just like really organic. But people would say to me, like, you know, at different parts of my life, like, you know what, this I feel different, or I see things differently, you know, after talking to you or after seeing you or after meeting you and things like that. And then it was, you know, I realized that a lot of people go through the same thing. Like, it's not just me. Like, everybody goes through it. You know, you look at history, people been through it. People my age, when I was growing up, we were all going through it. And now the younger generation is coming up now is going through it. You know what I'm saying? So while I was figuring things out as it was happening, you know, I'm hoping that, you know, my experience in my life, I can kind of share with everybody so I can kind of help them, you know, educate them and kind of prepare them for it. So that's where the coaching comes in from, and the motivational speaker thing, and speaking to people and kind of inspiring them to be their best version of themselves and kind of achieve the goals that they want, and to want more for themselves and to work hard to get it.
That's amazing. That's great. Is there an email or any kind of YouTube page or any way people can get a hold of you, or just...
Right now, just through the IG. Okay. I do have the other social media handles in the works right now.
Like MySpace and stuff like that?
Yeah, MySpace.
I'm pretty cool. I'm pretty hip.
Yeah, definitely. All of that is
the kids are going to love that.
Yeah, they're definitely. MySpace over there? Yeah.
Yeah, man, retro is cool right now. All right?
Definitely.
So yeah, you got like a TikTok or anything like that coming up?
Yep, I got a TikTok coming. Okay. The email page coming. I got the IG now.
Cool.
And we just going to take it from there.
All right. So just tell anybody looking to hit you up, just slide into your DMs.
Yes.
On the IG. Yep. Once again, Instagram handle is built_different_Mike Alston, Alston.
Yeah.
Check him out. You're doing amazing things out there, man.
All right. Thanks.
The world needs a lot of people like you out there right now.
Thanks, man.
Specifically.
Appreciate it.
So it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, pleasure.
And feel free to come back whenever you want, man.
Yeah, of course. My guy.
All right, Mike. You take care of yourself, buddy.
All right, you too, Dan. Appreciate you.
Take care.
Thanks.
None of that recorded. No, I'm just kidding. And there you have it. Episode 2 in the books. Huge thanks again to Mike Alston for bringing his truth, his story, and that unforgettable line, "Life's hard. Now what?" And to you, thanks for spending a little time on the bright side with me today. If something in this episode stuck with you, hit follow, and share it with somebody who might need it. Let's keep the conversation going. It's important. If you've got a story of your own to tell, listen, I would love to hear it. Reach out anytime at bravingthebrightside@gmail.com or on Instagram at braving_thebrightside. New episodes drop every Friday at 2 p.m. Until then, keep braving it. One step, one sunrise at a time. I'll see you next week.